How's it going, everybody? And we are back with another beatbox reaction video. And today we have the final top 16 battle for the BBU 22, and that's going to be Jordox versus Vallardo. So Jordox, I was first introduced to Jordox for the wildcard competition here, actually. And I know that he also competed at the Grand Beatbox battle in the tag team division for Blue Mountain State. And I believe he's also from Canada, so that's a third contestant for this competition that is from Canada. Obviously Vino dropped out, so technically only two. And yeah, so I don't really know much about Jordox again. I know that his style for the wildcard was more musically oriented, so I think it's fair to kind of expect that similar style coming into this first round battle here against Vallardo. I could be wrong, he might have a different kind of side, but he definitely, his wildcard rather, for the competition was more musically oriented, so I'm going to expect that from him. And Vallardo, kind of the same stuff, right? Like, I don't really know much about Vallardo. Obviously, he's filling in for Tomas. And again, his wildcard for this competition was the very first time I was actually introduced to Vallardo. And Vallardo was a very big surprise. Ultimately, he didn't make it into the competition, and he also didn't make it into my top 16. But that was more so not because of the beatboxing, it was more so because of the technical side. Like, his video and audio really held him down in that regard. So that's why he didn't make it ultimately for me, and possibly for Sin and Shazam's reasoning as well. But I loved what I've seen from Vallardo and his wildcard, and I'm very happy that he gets a chance to kind of represent and show what he's capable of in this kind of competition. I don't really know what to expect for his video here. He did have a more diverse showing in terms of like what he showed for his beatboxing side. He had a bunch of different kind of like genres and beatboxing styles mixed into one when you're talking about his wildcard. So I'm not really sure what to expect, honestly, when it comes to his round here potentially against Jordox. So if Jordox comes in with like a musical kind of round, maybe he'll decide to try to counter that with his own kind of musical round, but who knows. At the end of the day, it's very hard to predict, obviously, so I guess we're just going to have to see and find out. So I'm very excited for this one. I don't really know what to expect from both sides. I've only heard of both of these guys very recently, so it's going to be a big mystery in terms of what they're actually going to come and represent in this battle here. So without further ado, guys, before we get into the video, obviously watch the original videos on Sin and Shazam's YouTube channel, then come back to mine. And at the end of the video, I will also be doing another grading in my own criteria for who I think the winner is ultimately. So without further ado, guys, let's get right into this video. What?
No one feels. But what they have to say is definitely worth fearing. They all cry. But no one cares about that. Imagine how they feel after their brave back standing just by themselves alone. So maybe you should hush.
Alright, guys, so this is obviously not a round meant for Vallardo. I just want to say that right off the bat. I understand what he's getting at here, the whole concept of the video. I just want to put that out there before I talk about it at the end.
ask for consent.
Absolutely savage.
Let's get into the real shit.
I don't need that crazy video. I don't need the fake audio. I don't need too many of that one. But now that I have, hey Jordox, turn off the auto-tune.
Stop. You are not worthy of my days.
Oh shit. Okay guys, so that was Jordox versus Vallardo, the final battle for the BBU 22 top 16 first round to be exact. But yeah guys, so very interesting battle for a few different reasons, I think. The first one being, obviously Jordox's round itself was not meant to be made in this battle for Vallardo. Obviously Tomas was his original opponent, but he got dropped out. He dropped out of the competition for reasons that we're all familiar with at this point in time. Well, I hope that you guys are familiar with it. If not, I'm not going to sit here and explain the situation. It's already documented well enough by several different people, and I don't really have anything to add on to it, so I'm not going to sit here and try to do that. So, yeah. So starting off with Jordox, obviously, again, his round wasn't meant for Vallardo, so that's obviously an unfortunate situation, but it is what it is. He didn't have enough time and dedication to make a round for Vallardo, which is very unfortunate, but it is what it is. It's nothing we can really do about that. It's just how the situation happened, and he's kind of got the shorter straw in the situation, so that's how the cards were dealt. So taking his round into account, oh my god, like I did not expect that. Even when he was originally supposed to face Tomas, I figured maybe he'd add like a little flair or something to kind of like poke at him from the current situation that he is in. But man, the entire round was just like a cutthroat, like huge diss to Tomas as a person as a whole. Like he really beat down on him from that situation from the beginning to the end. Like the entire concept of the video itself was honestly an absolute masterpiece, regardless of like the theme. Just like kind of like the idea, you take away like the darkness of like what the theme of the video was trying to get at, and you just kind of like take away the elements and you look at it from that kind of perspective, it was an absolute masterpiece for sure. But when you add like the theme that is trying to get at and like the darkness that comes along with it, that was an absolute like crazy phenomenal job like from Jordox, and honestly not what I expected from him, but the fact that we got that from him like says a lot. I don't think like a lot of people probably would have went into that direction, but he was absolutely fearless with that, and you shouldn't be fearless. You shouldn't fear that, honestly, to be completely honest. Like, it's a very dark kind of thing to talk about, and a lot of people kind of shy away from that, but Jordox definitely embraced it, and he knew what he wanted to say. He had an idea and he kind of went through with it, and what the end result was an absolute masterpiece for sure. And if he battled Tomas, if that round went to Tomas, and trying to see Tomas's like counter to that is like, it just wouldn't work at all, because you can't really counter something like that. It is what it is. Like, he got you, and you can't get away from that. Like, there's nothing you can do to redeem what he kind of pointed out and what that round kind of ended up being. So, but unfortunately, Tomas wasn't the recipient of that ass beating. It was Vallardo. So it kind of fell short in that regard, just because it was Vallardo. Like, poor Vallardo had nothing to do with the situation, and he kind of ended up being the person to receive the brunt end of the stick there in that ass beating that Jordox gave out. So yeah. And with that being said, I think like the beatboxing obviously was another standout, of course. It got a little bit stale and redundant with the lip rolls in the end, but I think that just kind of went along with the theme. I think it was kind of like more of like a counter to Tomas's style again, and kind of like adding on to the darkness of the theme of the video itself. So I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a masterpiece from like every aspect, honestly, especially from the fact that I don't really know much about Jordox, and the fact that he came out with something like this was a very big surprise. And I think it just goes to show like how amazing this competition really turns out to be, and like how many different kind of situations you can find yourself in. But anyway, guys, moving on from Jordox's round, again, it's kind of unfortunate that he didn't end up battling Tomas, because I really would have enjoyed to see what kind of response Tomas would have possibly had to something like that. But we obviously didn't end up getting that. So moving on to Vallardo, like, oh my god, just like the entire concept of the video was rather short, to be fair. I kind of wish it was a little bit longer. I think it was like 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes. What we did get from Vallardo in that 2 minutes was absolutely amazing, because Vallardo's another person that I've never heard of before coming into this competition, and I really enjoyed his wildcard. It's just that the technical aspects of his wildcard as a whole kind of held him back into getting into the competition. But yeah, what we got from him in this battle, in this round in particular, was absolutely amazing, I think, because it started off kind of throwing back to his wildcard. Then he kind of went to the theme where like he's getting into this competition. Now he has the technical aspects on his back, so he can make something a lot better than what we got from his wildcard, and it's exactly what we did get. We had a top-notch video. There's some little differences in audio, but I think he kind of chose to go with that direction. He didn't want to auto-tune and turn up the audio too much to a point where it kind of doesn't sound raw enough to actually be the beatboxing coming out of his mouth. No like crazy enhancements like some of these competitors have been doing, even though it is legal to do in this competition in particular. He didn't want to go down that route. So I think that actually kind of hindered him a little bit, because there were some sudden changes in the audio that was very noticeable and took away a little bit. But man, like the display of like technicality and that crazy new school like flow that he had, especially that beginning portion, was absolutely mind-blowing. I was losing my mind listening to it, because I think like beatboxers like this and what they're displaying in the scene today, when we're getting them in this kind of like aspect here, in this kind of competition, in this format, really shows what we can kind of expect the beatboxing to be in the near future, and like where it's heading in the direction that it is going. And seeing people like Vallardo and like other new school beatboxers coming into the scene who are not relatively known, and just kind of like throwing their names out there and getting the representation in the videos like this, just it's absolutely crazy. Like, it's stuff that you don't really hear like ever, and now you're hearing it for the first time, and it's absolutely mind-blowing. Yeah, I kind of got like the same like vibe as I do with like Max when I first heard Max, like the crazy new school flows that he was doing. Now I'm seeing it again with Vallardo. It's absolutely crazy. It's not like a one-to-one comparison, but I just think like how they're both relatively new to the scene, and how they're both kind of really technically oriented beatboxers, and how like fresh and unique their style is as a beatboxer really is awesome. So I love the video. I thought the video was a very big standout as well. Slight issues with the audio, and I really wish it was a little bit longer, but what we did get from Vallardo, I've really enjoyed. And yeah, he also had a poke in there at Jordox too about the auto-tune. I thought that was pretty funny as well. So, and also the end portion where he was just saying that he Jordox didn't deserve his inward bass, and he's kind of like hinting that if he gets through, maybe he'll represent or show his inward bass a little bit more to an opponent that he deems a little bit more worthy to use it against. So I thought that was a really smart battle move as well. So anyway, guys, unfortunately not too much to say about Vallardo's round because it was relatively short, but it was a very technically oriented round, new school technical kind of flow, really awesome to hear. And the video production was absolutely amazing, just like pretty much everyone else in the competition. So yeah, that's probably the best Vallardo video out on the internet right now. It has to be. I can't really imagine he has anything better than that out on the internet. That was probably the best so far. So overall, guys, the battle itself had it turned out to be very interesting for so many different reasons. Jordox coming in with the absolutely like cutthroat round that was originally supposed to be meant for Tomas, but Vallardo unfortunately got that short end of the stick there. He got the brutal beating of that round from Jordox, and Vallardo coming in with some crazy new school technical flow. So overall, very solid battle, guys. Yeah, I read the comments in the Jordox video as well, and he was saying that unfortunately, again, he didn't have enough time to make a new round for Vallardo, so that's why it turned out to be that way. And also that Sin and Shazam are going to be omitting the battle round category, or the battle point category, for the grading of this battle, I believe, if that actually turns out to be true according to his comments. So I think I'll follow suit with that, because I don't really think it's fair to give Vallardo the battle points over Jordox just because of the situation. So I'll be omitting that category in my grading too. So with that being said, guys, that's the end of the reaction and the analysis. A lot of stuff to go over there, obviously. But yeah, if you want to stick around for my grading portion and ultimately who I think won the battle based on what we've seen into these videos, definitely feel free to stick around and watch that. It's going to be a little bit different compared to the other ones for obvious reasons, but overall it's pretty much the same concept. I'll just be using the categories and grading it based on my criteria. So if you want to stick around for that, feel free. If you don't want to stick around, then I will see you guys in the first quarterfinal for this competition.